Okay, hey folks, Mark Locklear here, and just a quick screencast on Chapter 5, Methods, Exceptions, and Validate Data. I think what I'll do is I think I'll start coding the dice roller app, which is the project exercise I'm asking you to do. That'll give you a chance for you to see me create an application from scratch, just sort of what my thought process is like, so I think that'll be helpful. And then also just to talk about this idea of creating static methods. So I'll just say a couple words about that before I code. So basically, this idea of a static method is we're going to start this process of beginning to sort of abstract code, break code into these sort of functional, reusable pieces, and creating a method is the first step in that process. Later on, we'll be creating classes that are sort of going to take that decoupling of code, if you will, to a new level. Up to this point, we've sort of put everything in the main method, and we've really just been writing what was called, at least many years ago, procedural programming, which is procedure in that it's just a procedure, starts from the top and works its way down. With the implementation of methods, we're starting to create these code snippets that can sort of be called from within our main program at will. They're reusable, so we can call them multiple times if we want, and they're not procedural in that you may go down, they may be called multiple times inside your main method, and then depending on if you've got a loop or some other action going on, then yeah, those methods may be called multiple times. Okay, so with that, let me pause and I'll get my IDE going, and then we'll pick up from there. Okay, so here we are inside my IDE. So I'm going to create a new project. I'll call this, so again, it's going to be a Java application. I'm going to call it dice. We'll just call it dice roller. And what did I miss here? Let's try that again. So create a new project. It's going to be a Java application. There we go, and we'll call it dice roller. And we'll finish. So generally, when I'm approaching applications like this, and I'm looking at the requirements. First thing it says is you can use a random method of the math class to generate a random number, and they're going to give you the algorithm you're going to use to generate that random number. Very similar to what we're using in the guess number app for the chapter exercise you're doing. So the way I start applications like this, just reading through all the requirements first. Be very careful. Oftentimes you'll have a tendency to sort of dive right in. Oh, okay, I see I need to create a random number, or I need to create a random number between 1 and 6. Let me go ahead and do that and implement it. It's best to this idea of, and I often call that composing at the keyboard. That's often not what you want to do. You really want to read through the entire requirements first to get a sense of what the application is going to do, overall, big picture, high level, and then you go back and start sort of coding things up. So obviously I've dealt with this application before, and I already know what it needs to do. So, but anyway, I'm going to read through all of the requirements and get a sense of that first. So the first thing I'm going to do is, it's often nice to print out some kind of welcome message at the top. So I'm going to do that. And in fact, if you see in the console output as an example there, they've got dice rollers, the first thing you're going to notice real quick. Notice if I type S out and then I hit the tab key, notice it automatically creates a print line statement for you. So that's just a little handy tip you can use to save yourself some typing. So dice roller is the first thing I'm going to want to code here. And often what you'll do too is put comments in place to sort of give the structure of the application, and then you sort of go back later and add various things to it. So in fact, I think I'm going to approach it that way. I know I'm going to need a scanner object because I need to get input from the user, right? I need to get, because I'm going to ask them whether they want to roll the dice. So that first prompt is, roll the dice, ? Yes or no. So rather than just typing that out, I'm just going to make comments for the general structure here. So I'm going to say something like instantiate new scanner object. Okay, I've got that in place. I'm going to do something like, I'm going to say create choice variable. And pass scanner object to, I'm just going to say pass scanner object to method. The reason I'm going to do that is, and this is what I'm going to be looking for when I'm grading it, is notice that the third bullet point there says the application should use static methods to organize its code. So as much as possible, I want you to think about static methods here. And in fact, I may go back and modify the projects document in Google so that I'm actually requiring, I'm going to ask you to create various methods. So I'm going to have a user choice method, and I think I'm going to also do a roll die method that's going to sort of encapsulate the functionality for that. So for instance, I've got this create choice variable and pass scanner object to method. And then after I do that, I'm going to say roll die. I'm going to say call. I'm going to create a method called roll die that is going to actually, again, it's going to be a reusable code snippet that I'm able to do that with. Okay. So first off, creating the scanner object. Let's go ahead and do that. So this again is just using the scanner class here, creating a new scanner object called SC. And then I'm doing the scanner, and then I just pass system.in. Now notice I'm getting an error here. That's because I haven't imported the class yet. I'm on Mac, I can hold down Command and press return. Nope. Actually, it is Control. Yeah, Control and return. And it'll give me this add import statement to Java. So I'm going to do that. Notice it added this import statement up top here. So I'm going to do that. Next thing I'm going to do is create a choice variable. And this is going to be helpful for our loop. This same sort of structure is used in other programs, so it shouldn't be this shouldn't be strange to you if you look at some of the book programs, they use this same code. So I'm going to do that. And here I'm just creating a variable choice called choice. It's a string variable, and then I'm going to have a while loop later on that says, you know, while choice equals yes, the book uses this equals ignore case yes, then I'm going to roll the die. So notice I'm getting an error here. That's because I haven't created this method yet. So let's go ahead and create this get user choice method. So this is going to be a private method. It's going to be static, and it's going to return a string. So I'm going to call it get user choice, and then it's going to accept. And notice the arguments I've passed to it up here are the scanner object itself, and then the message that I want to display. So scanner SC, and then string prompt. Now notice already my error goes away up here because I've created this method. Now this whole idea of using the ID sort of get feedback as you code. So we're going to do a system out .print statement here, and the prompt that we pass to it. So in this case, we're passing this roll the dice text, and then of course we're passing that as an argument here. It comes in as prompt. So now we're going to just simply print that out. So we're going to print that out there, and then we'll call return. So we're going to return statement, and then we'll do sc.next, and that is whatever the input the user enters here, whether they choose yes or no, we'll go ahead and return that back. All right, a little error, I forgot my out method when I called system. So now we can go ahead and run this. Like, notice as I'm coding this, it's often helpful to run your code at sort of various milestones. Like in this case, I've got the scanner object implemented. I've got string choice. I've got this get user choice method implemented. So I'm going to go ahead and just run this code. Now, it's not going to do anything. It's going to prompt me for, again, the message I've got here. I can put yes or no in. It really doesn't matter because it's not doing anything. But notice it runs and builds successfully. So, you know, in general, it's a good idea to do those kinds of things. So I think what I'm going to do now is, and I'm just pasting this in off camera rather than you having to watch me code it up. But I'm going to go ahead and put a while loop in here. So this is where my while loop, or this is where this get user choice is sort of going to be fully implemented, where I'm creating this while loop, and now as long as the or while choice is equal to yes, I'm going to continue to run this. So if the user enters yes, anything else, now in this case we're prompting them to enter no, but really if they hit anything other than y, lowercase y, then you're going to drop out of the program. So now I've got a roll die. Now notice with this code I've just typed in here, I'm creating a variable for each of our die. We're rolling 2 dice here. So I've got die 1 and die 2. Notice I've got this roll die method. So I'm just going to go down here and put, I'm just going to say implement roll die. And then notice I've got a print die method here too. So I'm going to do implement print dice. And then I would go ahead and code those up. I'm going to go ahead and stop there. You know, the roll dice method is going to be pretty straightforward. Basically, it's just going to contain that math.random statement that's going to give you your random number between 1 and 6. And then the print dice is just going to simply add the total, the 2 random numbers that are assigned to each dice, die 1 and die 2. It's going to add those up, and then it's going to print out that total that you see in the console example that we've got in the print document. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Hopefully that gives you a sense of sort of the structure, how you know, especially, so you've probably noticed up to this point the way we're doing these exercises, generally the first exercise you've got is kind of a gimme because it's just straight from the book and you've already got the you've already got the solution to it. So I'd encourage you to challenge yourself and try to solve it without looking at the solution that the book gives you, but don't overdo it. Give yourself 30 minutes or an hour, ever how long you feel like makes sense to try and solve it on your own before you look at the book solution. That's usually the first exercise. The second exercise, I'm asking you to do one of the book exercises, which you've got the solution for, in addition to some other requirements that I'm asking you to implement. And then I'm asking you to do the project, one of the project exercises, which is, of course, an application you're going to have to do from scratch. And that's sort of a good, I mean, in my estimation, the idea is that I'm sort of, you know, it's baby steps kind of thing where, okay, you've got a solution, you know, you can look at, you can fall back on. Okay, this one, they're giving me the application's already made. I just need to go in and make some adjustments to it. And then that third one is, okay, I've got to code an application up from scratch. So, okay, hope that I hope that helps. Again, don't hesitate to ask questions. Thanks.